3, 2, 1. We are live.
So I'll go verbatim.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to e-rev TV. Sorry about the brief delay in the cast there as I was prepping everybody here for what was going to be on the show. And we are now live and waiting, guys. And we're going to talk a little bit about the brackets here. But first, let me get into detail on who exactly we have with us today. Of course, you guys know me. I'm the pretty guy in the orange shirt here, looking beautiful with a beautiful voice as always. Pat the Twiz Harrison. Along with me is going to be Cevo Galardi, Che, Kaja, and Phil. So it's a pretty big lineup that we've got here for Team Talk tonight. So we'll start out with Galardi. You can go ahead and do a quick introduction. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Cevo Galardi, also known as AF1. Been playing Left 4 Dead for a long time, and I'm hosting the current Left 4 Dead event that is going on.
So he is the guy that handles all of your problems, complaints, and I've been in his spot before. Not very often do you get a lot of positive comments to you. So now is the time that if you guys are in the Cevo chat, to show him a little bit of recognition for what he's done, because I know this tournament was titled the Left 4 Dead Throwback Tournament, but from what I have seen so far, I think it should be renamed something more like the Left 4 Dead Revival Tournament. What do you think about that, Shay?
Sounds good.
And tell us a
Pretty
little
much.
bit about who you are. Because I don't have a clue who you are.
I'm Shay. Well, Shay, been around for quite a while. Used to play on Team Mother Teresa. And now for this tournament, got a couple buddies playing Quartet. Been having fun. Lost the first match, but rocking that lower bracket. Piecing some kids.
Piecing some kids.
That's about it, though. Yeah, we have TMNT tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to playing Latino Heat again, as well.
All right, and who is uber loud here? I know somebody's saying that we were loud.
Apparently I was. I'm not sure if that's any better or anything like that.
Could be me. It's something I can adjust here because they said Shay is loud as well, so...
Okay.
And let me adjust that on my mixer, and you guys should be good here now. All right. So now I guess the last person, or we have two more people to introduce, and they're both from Team Healthcare Professionals, which we've seen in a pretty devastating match the other night. So we have Kaja playing that amazing tank. Kaja, I know you're just now coming back. A lot of the newer people don't realize what kind of legend you were back in Left 4 Dead when it was still really the thing. So why don't you tell us a little bit of your team background and what really brought you back to the Left 4 Dead scene?
Well, I've been playing competitive Left 4 Dead since it came out, basically. I started a team called Treelog Champions, and we quickly got recognized as a top team coming out of nowhere, which was a pretty rare accomplishment. And after that, switched to Dynamics, and from Dynamics, after that fell apart, I went to my most known team, which was Exenius. And as far as Left 4 Dead 1, that's all I really did. After the last tournament I played for that, and when Left 4 Dead 2 came out, started playing with Phil here. That's how I got to know him. On Trouble in a Pot, played a few tourneys in that, and haven't really touched Left 4 Dead since then until Phil just asked me to fill in for Sideways box, I believe. And here I am.
And that is Kaja. And I guess the big reason I brought him on, he was a very, very strong influence to the gaming scene back when Left 4 Dead, like I said, was the thing. And he has the same name as me, which makes it pretty cool, having two Pats on the cast. I mean, if one is amazing, two has to be, like, double amazing. Wouldn't you guys say so?
Double trouble, man.
I don't know about that. Yes, indeed.
All right, so now should we skip Phil, or should we let Phil introduce himself? This is a very tough one to do here.
Let me just say,
like Phil.
Let me just say, me and Kaja, we're on the Healthcare Professionals. Every member on our roster has a huge history in Left 4 Dead 2, and to see a tournament come back like this for Left 4 Dead 1, we were pretty much all over it. So we're really excited that we put this on, and we're hoping to continue on.
Okay. So that is everybody that we have on the cast today. So there's going to be a little bit more in-depth interviews later on with some more particular questions. But let's kind of head to the main topic of what this cast is, and it's going to be the coverage of how the teams have came along through this CEVO tournament and the paths that have been taken to get there. So we're going to start out at the A bracket, which you can see located nicely on my screen here. And at the A bracket, if I can get the entire thing on my screen, you can see a lot of buys in the first round. If you're new to competitive gaming, you were probably a little shocked when you've seen that happen. But don't be. It's something that happens in almost every competitive game, just because unless you actually set it to where, hey, 32 teams are going to join, and at that we're not going to have any more teams, or an even number like that, you're always going to run into these kind of things where just one or two teams over are going to give you an entire bye week nearly. So don't be too shocked if you see that in this tournament, which you did, or in future tournaments, in any of the gamings that you're doing. But we have Team Pony getting the bye, going against 4 Locos there. Match got overturned. 4 Locos pushing on to take on Quarantine, where they were just stomped down to nothing, 441 to 5210. Big, huge win for Quarantine there. And then below that, we do see at the bottom of that bracket, Claudnot Sisters working their way all the way up to the top to get to where they are as they took on 1017 Brick Squad. First match that we had casted. I hadn't casted Left 4 Dead in forever, and basically they built themselves up to there, and unexpectedly takes down Quarantine. Now, Shay, what are your thoughts on that exactly? Claudnot Sisters beating Quarantine in that match to move on to the upper bracket winner.
Claudnot Sisters was the underdogs in the situation, and no one expected them to triumph over Quarantine. Quarantine was the only team to actually not quit Left 4 Dead and still play when everyone abandoned the game. So no one expected them to really lose, but now they're having some internal relationship problems, which isn't so good. But Claudnot Sisters have some great infected, and they pulled through. Pretty happy for them. So good job, Claudia, Brute, Rosie, and Gina.
Yeah, a lot of familiar names there from back when I was around. I know Claudia, and I remember Rosie. The other 2 names weren't too familiar for me, but it's definitely good to see these guys push on and win that A bracket and get themselves going to be getting a spot into the finals bracket. But now that we take a look at the losers bracket, Phil, I'm going to go to you on this one. Is there anything really exciting that you've seen take place here that was unexpected in this entire losers bracket?
Not very much. I think, we had a match against, I think it was BMW. Ball Mouse Warriors bring us down to the losers bracket, and we only lost by under 100 points. So, other than that, it's going pretty much how we expected it to. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, and I apologize. One thing that I normally do, which I've just been too busy to do, I've done it in like every tournament I've ever covered in the past, is at the beginning of the tournament, I begin to go through and do predictions weekly in a kind of show format like this. And unfortunately, I've had so much on my plate, I barely had time to get all these casts in, which is kind of why I'm doing this little recap here. But any tournaments in the future, you'll definitely see me going through and actually giving predictions and stuff. And I guess it would have been tough for me to do being out of the scene so long. I wasn't too familiar with players or the teams, and was kind of at awe coming in here. Luckily, I had the help of a lot of the members from the Left 4 Dead community that I know to be able to pick out which matches were going to be worth covering. Because to me, unless it was Depraved versus Area 51 or Area 51 taking on Exenius, it was no big match. And when I've surprisingly seen none of those names, I seen Depraved in there with a half a roster, I was a little shocked. But that is that is the A bracket. And Quarantine's going to be taking on Pony there. The winner of that advances, and like Shay was talking about there's some problems going on there, so we don't know exactly what to expect. But from there, we're going to move on to, if I can quit maximizing everything, we're going to move on to the B bracket.
Oh no.
And while we're in the middle of this, I want to toss out the idea, because it's been brought to me about 4 different times now since my last cast, since I mentioned stuff about landing. I'm in contact right now with the people at the GXL. I'm going to be going to the GXL. Now let me bring this up on my screen here. This is the GXL's website, thegxl.com, and I believe the dates are the first weekend in May. So I think it's the 6th or the 7th. I don't remember. I know I'm flying.
Yeah, 6th to the 8th.
The 6th to the 8th. So I'm flying in on the 5th to New York, where e-rev headquarters is located. But I'm curious now. They've got a few games lined up. and I can show you which games they have here. Oops, let me get to the tournament section part here. Tournaments. Right now they have StarCraft 2, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Black Ops, Quake 3, Trackmania Nations Forever, League of Legends, Heroes of New Earth, which is spelled wrong, and more to come. That more to come section is what I'm wanting to know from you guys. I mean, how many teams do you think we could put together in Left 4 Dead that would be willing to travel to there to compete? What kind of prize pool would we need to see? Things like that to get everybody together to see if this is going to be a game that the GXL wants to cover. So I'm going to start a thread on that on the cybergamer.org forums, where I guess most of the Left 4 Dead community talks. And we're going to see what's going on and see if we can get something going on there. I mean, if we can get a good 8 to 10 teams possibly going there, that would be pretty exciting. So I guess we have to see.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I tried to get in contact with a few of the GXL admins. They said something about possibly hosting a Left 4 Dead event, so I contacted them about maybe hosting some event through CEVO that I could help set up at the event. But as Twiz stated, we need teams. We need commitments from a lot of teams for it to work.
Yeah, we need to know, if I know we have teams, it's not going to be a problem for me to push to get a Left 4 Dead thing there. e-rev has been great. I believe that we should be on the partners page. Yeah, there we are. We are partners with that, so we're exclusively covering the event. For those of you that visit the last GXL, it was an amazing time, and it's a lot of fun. And even if the prize pool's not that big, I mean, it's worth it to go there and get a chance to meet all the other gamers. And if you haven't been to a major LAN event, it is so exciting. You don't sleep pretty much the entire time. You camp out underneath your computer, or if you're like me, I mean, a VIP, I went to a hotel. But I mean, it is a blast, and it'll be hectic because not only will we be doing interviews throughout the day. I mean, I'll be covering 3 games there if we have Left 4 Dead. So I mean, it is a blast. So make sure you guys at least check that out. It's going to be held in Philadelphia. I'm sure they've got the location on the website somewhere. But it is pretty exciting. To get into LAN, it's usually not too expensive, usually like $25, $30 or something like that. And then whatever tournament fee is if it's considered a paid-to-play tournament. But it is a blast. I mean, travel is expensive to get there sometimes, but if you're in that area, make sure it's something that you decide to put together. So back to brackets. So did you guys have anything to talk about for GXL? I know you went there last time, Shay. Talk to us a little bit about your experience there.
It was pretty fun. I mean, it was like Area 51, what is it, Exalt, and NT2 and Blight. Just a couple top teams. You're asking for 8 to 10, and back then the community was alive, and you only got like 4 to 5. It's gonna be tough. I mean, I see only if you get like online the community getting really live again to be anything close to having a LAN event with teams participating. Sad to say, but it's reality to me.
Well, I didn't get to go, unfortunately, at the last GXL, even though I really wanted to. I think it was just bad timing for me anyway, but I know if there was a Left 4 Dead event there, I would definitely go this time around. I think we could get the teams together, actually. There's a lot more. Now that Left 4 Dead 2, the competitive scene has died down, there's so many more teams flooding back into Left 4 Dead 1 that I don't really see it being a problem. As long as the reason to go there, like the prizes and stuff, are somewhat reasonable, there's no reason why we couldn't get the teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's all a matter of teams, really. Once you build those up, you're going to start to see a little bit more sponsorships almost, and then that'll kind of build from there.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect, I mean, it's 4 months away, and Left 4 Dead hasn't shown huge turnouts in online tournament. I wouldn't expect a huge prize pool to go there, because it's just money that could be allocated to a more popular game. But it's definitely a start and a good experience. I mean, even if you don't go there to make a ton of money, I mean, I went there last year, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't play in any game, and I ended up spending around $1,500 during my trip there. Going and knowing that at that time I wouldn't even be participating in a tournament to play. So it's probably not going to cost you $1,500 if you're in the area, but it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely a lot of fun. But we're going to move on now from the GXL to our favorite bracket B, where my favorite team is, and I don't mean Cortex.
Oh, ouch.
Just cut you deep there.
Let me take a look at bracket.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, pretty upsetting match against Latino Heat. What happened there was, map 1, DT1, no one wants to play an early tank, but unfortunately, guess what? Early tank spawned. And Rexstar, good old Rexstar, likes to hang on trucks on a run. Enough said. And team morale just went down the drain.
Yeah, my team was taken out quite early there. My team was Lolo Li Hing Mui Lichis was who I had voted there, because that's a pretty awesome name. Did you guys, I don't know if you guys ever went back to look at my live stream when I did the last CEVO recap, but they had so much more creative names than like what we had now. Like, I was so surprised with some of the names that they had in the other CEVO tournament. These names were just kind of boring. I'll be honest with you. But if you haven't checked that out, I do have the live stream. It's livestream.com/L4D.cevo. And you can see there where I did CEVO recaps last time. But you kind of gave us the gist of it there, as Latino Heat did beat Cortex, and Latino Heat
they're pretty solid
to win the bracket there, as they took down TMNT as well. So we move to the bottom brackets here. Not a lot to really see there. Basically a lot of boringness at the beginning of the bracket. While Vector Gaming beating Bangarang 4,000 to 290. It's a pretty bad whooping there. Then we see Malcontent, Cortex beating Malcontent, and there we see him beating 90s as well. And now they are going to be facing TMNT. And I did make a post on the Cyber Gamer forum, and the majority of the people on there say they want to see Cortex versus TMNT tomorrow night. So that's probably going to be the match that we're going to be covering. The time, do you know what the time is, Jay? 8 o'clock Eastern, so you guys can join us.
It's pretty early, but I'm not going to say why.
It's fine, 8 o'clock.
Some of my team members will be embarrassed. Wink, wink.
Well, Che has tumbling at 10 Eastern, so it has to be done before his tumbling practice. Otherwise, so 8 Eastern tomorrow, you guys are going to get to see that match. And that's...
Quick question.
For sure.
You're in the bracket, so whoever loses between TMNT and Cortex, you're out of here. Am I right?
Correct.
Good luck.
Thanks.
So this is a very important match. Probably the most... Well, I guess you would have been out if you would have lost any of your other matches, too. The most important match of this time, because this match here solely determines whether you make it or you break it. And,
well,
you got to be...
We had a tough lower bottom bracket. Fish and solid teams. You got Malcontent. They did a good job.
So if
90s as well. They were pretty solid.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what are some of your guys' practice techniques that you're doing for some of the newer teams out there? Like, can you guys explain, like, maybe some stuff you do throughout the week to put you towards this level to be prepared for matches like this, or do you guys experience it?
Well, basically, we're all developed on our play styles right now since we've been playing together for a while, but what I like to stress is during scrims, you keep Survivor quiet. One person talk, clear all common. SI will go down if there is no comment. That's my team's theme. We keep it slow and clear all comments.
Well, as far as me, basically all I do is I play WoW until Phil asks me to scrim or play in a match, and then I play in it. So that might be a little different for other people, and you might not be able to get away with that, but yeah. I'm not much help here, I know.
Yeah, I used to practice all the time, and it was always just a lot of warming up, practicing. I mean, at one point, it was practicing Hunter Melees whenever I first started there. Oh, sorry, my mic is low. Let me bring it closer to my mouth, and let me talk a little louder. But I used to always do, I loved Hunter Melee practice, probably some of the most fun that you do in the game, and then you go on practicing with your tanks. And then from there, the metagame completely changes. Once you get the basics down, it's all just coordination and teamwork, and mainly just keeping from being separated. I say it quite often in my cast, but it's still the most important aspect in the game. If you begin to get separated throughout the game, you run into trouble, and that causes you to panic, and when that happens, you tunnel on one thing, and then next thing you know, your team's just completely wiped, and you're just like, how did we get here? And I mentioned it on my cast the other day, Kaja. You guys had played a match with Exenius where you guys were on Dead Air number 5, and you had already won the match, but you chose to play out. And you guys all stayed together somewhere towards the minigun, and all of a sudden the tank just hits this luggage cart in, and all 4 of you guys just get wiped from this luggage cart. And all I remember was Jam in a nice, smooth, calm voice saying, well, guys, you know what? We learned something there. And that's really the kind of attitude you have to have every match. So every match, even though you've been playing this game forever, there's still stuff that you learn. There's still new ideas, new tricks, new things that come up. And whenever you realize, hey, I've learned something here, we played this wrong, we really effed this up, that's whenever you fix your mistakes and you don't keep making the same mistakes over again.
Well, that's the biggest thing with this game, as far as like helpful advice as far as that goes. I see so many teams and so many people, they just get so emotionally like into a game that the slightest thing goes wrong and it's the end of the world for them. You can tell in their play style, their attitude, everything that's happening, they just get crushed because they made one mistake. And that's the biggest problem I see with like newer teams and newer players, or just people who haven't figured that out yet, is if you stay calm and treat every attack, every situation, every tank fight as a fresh opportunity, and it's like a new round in CS if you played Counter-Strike. You can change the tide of the game every single round, every single attack. And you can't get down in the dumps because one thing didn't go wrong. And I think that's why some of the better teams around right now are so successful, is because they've realized that and they learn from what they're doing. They don't get mad at it.
Yeah, and that's for sure. Like in any game, you have to do that, and you have to have that same kind of aspect. When you get the attitude that, hey, you know what, I'm the best at this game, I'm not going to be beat, is when you're at your weakest moment. And wasn't it like a UFC fight? Like Chuck Liddell comes out with this commercial, like, oh, I'm at any given time, I'm like the toughest man in the world, and nobody's going to beat me, and blah, blah, blah. And then like his very next fight, he just got the shit beat out of him. Do you guys remember that at all? I don't know if you guys keep up on UFC, but that definitely happened.
Yeah, I didn't check that out, but that's pretty hilarious.
It is, and like I play League of Legends, and I play Han, and I play a lot of stuff like that that's got a really weird metagame, and it's always a learning curve, because with patch notes and changes and stuff like that, every time it's changing. So every time I'm in this game, I'm looking at other players, and you know what? If they're doing something to make me mad, they're probably doing something better than me, and I'm going to steal that idea. And I learned that from when I played Age of Empires way back in the day. Like when somebody went through, and they did a great play on me, and I got beat, and I started to get mad, I'm like, you know what? I need to steal this idea, because guess what? The next person I go play, I'm going to do this to them, and I'm going to keep doing this until they catch on and they can counter it. So you got to kind of do that with Left 4 Dead, and unfortunately there's not as many changes and aspects where a lot of new stuff becomes developed, but still you've got to always change with the metagame. So I know I've been rambling on a lot here, so I'll get back to some stuff here. Did you guys have anything else that you wanted to comment on this, on any of your practice techniques, goodies like that?
Has anybody ever played hardcore mod? Apparently they play it in Europe.
I might have to enlighten.
It's like no pipe bombs, no mollies, no gas cans.
Yeah, I played that once, but yeah.
What do you think about that feature event?
I don't know. People would have to start scrimming it more, but it would be interesting to see. I mean, I like the idea of less things that don't take skill. Like I don't know. Like, yeah, there's the Molotov and lighting the tank's important and stuff, but if you take that out and you just rely on your aim and your teamwork and your coordination, it seems like it brings more skill to the game, and anything that does that, I'm all for it.
Yeah, there's like only 2 melees and cooldown, no extra fills. Pretty badass. Haven't tried it though. Sounds pretty good.
I kind of wanted to touch base on this. So many like new stuff coming out and mods and stuff like that. So it's like weird. So the way that stuff's been going in Left 4 Dead, it went from being vanilla when Left 4 Dead first started to basically a CEVO mod, which had like limited health packs, to Frustration's mod where you go to pills, to what we're at now, which is with Tublin. Like if this pace keeps going on, what are we going to see like a year and a half from now? Are we going to see like where you have to shoot your teammates down to start at half health and only have like 17 bullets to get through the map? I mean, are you guys developing that much that that's what it's going to take to keep this game competitive and interesting for you?
Pistols only was the next thing on the chalkboard, I believe.
Well, there was always, tournaments and the pub teams. Like, how do you track pub teams as well? and every tournament there's only like 4 top teams, and then you get when L4D was alive, there was like 12 mediocre teams, 5 really top teams, and then the rest were all pubs.
Well, with medkits, I believe Left 4 Dead was a little bit more than alive then when it turned to pills only.
Yeah, I mean, how many teams survived when they went to Fusty's first time? A lot of teams were wiped.
Yeah, because a lot of people, like, Twiz was saying, a lot of people don't know how to adapt, and they learn how to do one thing, and as soon as something changes that, they can't cope with it. That's when you see the better teams emerge.
Yeah, and it's just kind of odd, because we're trying to grow this community out, and what it is at the beginning it was like everybody starts on the same level, this is vanilla, this is the level, nobody had adapted yet. So it's like you all just got hired. You guys have all been hired on. You guys are all my new employees. You guys are my Left 4 Dead employees here. And now what we're at is you guys are like the Left 4 Dead managers, and now we're trying to hire new employees on and expect them to do what these managers can do, and they can't, because that big gap in the area, in the middle there, they don't have. So I think, I really wish we had the numbers for this, because this is where 2 separate leagues would make an entirely different difference. And imagine, I just look at it this way. Imagine if Counter-Strike 1.6 was all just one league. There was no open division, there was no premier division, there was no main division. It was the entire thing, and EG just came in and raffle stomped everybody, every tournament. That's what we're looking at in Left 4 Dead right now. It would be nice if we could get enough teams for something like this, where you could have an open division and have the top 6 teams or so competing for a moderately higher prize pool in a higher division to separate them, so that these guys in the lower division have something to work towards, something to develop for, and a little bit of a chance to adapt to the game style before getting thrown up there.
Yeah, a lot of pub teams, they'd get discouraged when the first round of the tournament against a good team, they'd get 8K'd to 200. If there's a separate little area for them to compete, even on CEVO, I mean, I don't know if we have to resort to going back that far. Or even Frosties, give them a few extra pipe bombs. But, I think they'd enjoy that.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe that is something to look forward to for the future. I mean, Galardi, I know you're in here right now with us. I mean, is that something we could possibly see as like the top 6 teams of this being put in a separate division and seeing what we can do? I mean, maybe even at the beginning when we're looking for teams and we're at the registration phase, see if we can get some teams for the main division, and everybody else gets tossed in that open division, and we see how that works. I mean, is that anything possible, or are we really far away from this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think...
Go ahead.
I think something like that could definitely be possible. The only problem is the idea of having different configs for different leagues just doesn't sound like a good idea. It seems like what caters to newer players is medkits and vanilla, but this game is obviously not competitive at vanilla, which is why it's hard to bring in the newer player. And even if you were to make a config for like the original CEVO config with medkits and tanks every map and stuff like that, I think even that will scare away some of the newer teams. But if it's something that can bring in new teams and possibly let them develop before they play on configs like Rotoblin, I think it could work.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking...
Well, I don't know. Rip Ono always said that this game was meant to have T2 and medkits. Just saying.
Well, I mean, on my thoughts is, the mods are definitely the right thing to get rid of some of the randomness in the game, but I'm saying that we have the kid in high school basketball going up a kid in high school basketball, not the kid in high school basketball one-on-oneing Michael Jordan.
No, I think you're right, and what I was going to say earlier is, didn't Cybergamer try to do that for Left 4 Dead 2? And they had like a placement tournament, I believe, and then like the top teams were going to be in a professional thing, but then Left 4 Dead 2 kind of died after that. But if that happened in Left 4 Dead 1, I think that would be awesome, because I've seen that happen a lot, where people are like, well, let's give this a shot, and then first round they're playing against the top team at the time, and that's just not fun for anyone. That wants to see that game, first of all, like be casted or whatever, and who wants to play in it when you're the lesser skilled team.
Well, see, the thing about CG is their idea was to have 2 different versions of Confoggle, and it was simply based on how many items were outside the safe room. And if we're talking about bringing in newer players to Left 4 Dead, I think you have to go as far as back as medkits to attract a new crowd. Because people hear pills, no T2, tanks every map, and they say no right away. And I mean, it would be, I don't know, it's something that's possible, but there would have to be a drastic difference between the two configs.
Yeah, it's hard to say. But it would be nice to see, that's all I know.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that we're talking about different things here, but everybody's on the same page that we want to see this game grow. Obviously, this throwback tournament and the coverage that we're doing is definitely the biggest steps that we can take for keeping people here and not losing anybody. But we're just maintaining the flow right now, and what we need to do is begin to grow. And it's going to be harder now than it was a year ago whenever I had left, because I had tried. I mean, I tried things such as the Help for Dead, which was the idea is to help bring newer players up to a higher skill level, which then became, I think Moosey turned it into something like the Community for Fame. I don't know if that's still around.
Yeah. I don't know either, but
it's mentoring individual players, but we're not grabbing that market, which is the group of 3 or 4 friends on Steam that just go on and queue together, and they're not familiar with the competitive scene, where they hear from tournaments and then they see the rules and they don't want to go in. So maybe as drastic as it sounds, 2 separate leagues with 2 separate sets of rules and 2 configurations may be the thing. I mean, it may be what it needs to do, and then when these people are on this in the lower league. They understand, this is going to be the config, this is what you're going to be moving up to. My only problem is we're looking at 6 teams right now, and we're going through the brackets. So what happens when, let's say, okay, we have healthcare professionals, depraved, Cortex, TMNT, and a couple of the higher teams. What happens when they get pushed there? Well, let's say healthcare professionals, for some reason, finish 7th in that tournament. Now we have healthcare professionals down in a completely different mod in a completely different league.
Well, see, here's the thing. If you're going to do something where you're going to have drastic differences in configs between the 2 divisions, it would have to be by choice. You basically give them the choice, do you want to play in the division that uses Roto, or do you want to play in the division that uses this more basic config? Because what you said can't happen. I mean, you can't have a team that's been around this game for a while playing with medkits and stuff.
And then I still don't know how much that's going to change, because you know what? I am dead terrible at Counter-Strike right now. But if you came up to me and you said, hey, Twiz, do you want to play in Counter-Strike Open, or do you want to play in Counter-Strike the Premier Division? I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm Twiz. I'm not bad at this stupid shooting game. I'm going to play in Premier. I'm going to tell all my friends, guess what? I'm Cevo P. Dog, you know what I mean? And then I'm going to just go get raffle stomped.
But the idea behind that is that you're not going to quit after the first game. If we give people a choice on what division they want to play, and if they choose to play Roto, even if they get killed their first couple games, they said they wanted to be there, and they're most likely going to stay. The issue that we have now is that teams who don't want to play a config like Roto against the top team get raped, and then they quit, and you never see them again.
Yeah, and we'd have to prepare ourselves for the first season of something like this to be small team turnouts for each division. I'm talking 20 teams apiece. And it's something that would have to be done, and we just have to deal with it and begin to grow from there. I mean, basically right now, we're in a burnt-down building. We need to finish burning this building down the best we can, spray it off with some water, put some new dirt down, and start building back up. And the only way to do that is to hit rock bottom before we can do that. And that would be the one thing the community would have to be prepared for, is something like this happening with very few teams in both tournaments for the first 1, maybe 2 tournaments before you get a build back. I hope that makes a little bit of sense for you guys listening and everybody on the cast here.
Yeah, completely.
I mean, I guess it'd be something that people would have to understand that, I mean, it's going to happen and there's no way around it. So you're put at a place right now, and this is the entire community. Everybody here is put at a point where we can either choose to set the course and stay with these 40 teams and just continue, or the 40 teams that have joined, half being nearly inactive, and just continue the path and let you guys play out amongst each other and begin building more and more mods that challenge your skill level, or we can choose to take a step backwards, slow the pace down a little bit, and bring some new teams in and try to rebuild it. There's no guarantee it would even be a success. But in my opinion, I think it would be worth the challenge.
Yeah, and that's definitely something we can look into for the future.
So, I mean, this is
I'd like to see it grow again.
Yeah. This is definitely live right now, and I know you guys are in the chat. There's very little delay. So while we're talking here, like, we're looking at maybe a minute delay, if that. If you guys have stuff that you want to say and chip in here, I mean, you'd be more than welcome to, other than calling people F words in the chat and arguing amongst yourself, because that doesn't help anybody. But let me start to get back to where we were here. As we were, where are we at? The third bracket right now. As Depraved going through, losing to Boomspiration there from the forfeit win. I believe they started at the bottom, and actually they are out of the tournament, correct? DPV is done.
Yeah, they lost their match to Healthcare.
Yep.
Due to the
you casted that to his.
Yeah, due to the I mean, I didn't know exactly how. I guess this is bracket format. Before, I guess the CEVO tournaments I remembered before weren't really. Well, I don't remember if they were bracket or not. I think it was league style up till finals.
No, that was different. Yeah, that was league style, and then there was a 16-team final, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's how.
Because I remember losing a couple times, but I still finished with high enough CPI that we advanced into the top 16. So I was like, And that was like my first tournament. But yeah, so unfortunately for Depraved, they're out of this. But it's definitely nothing to frown upon. They're a very good team. They faced a very good team, and they gave everybody a very, very good show that we've seen the other night. Healthcare Professionals now going to be taking on Boomspiration to see who's going to. That spot advances too, right? The winner of the lower bracket.
Yeah, that'll be the last spot in the finals bracket.
So will the upper bracket matches pretty much upper bracket versus lower bracket? Is that for seeding position?
Those do not happen. If you just look on the bracket, it just says both teams advance to final.
Okay.
The finals bracket seeding will be ran. I know a couple people had asked me about this before, so I might as well clear it up while we're here. It is going to be totally random. I know a couple people were asking me about CPI. We can't do it based on CPI because CPI factors in strength of schedule and all kinds of stuff like that. So since it's not a league and everybody didn't get to play everybody, we can't put you in the finals and group you based on your CPI. It's just got to be totally random, and that's the most fair way you can do it. But if you do take a look at the brackets, the way it works out, it doesn't really matter if you get that first round bye or not.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense and kind of enlightens the community there. So we're going to see Boomspiration and Healthcare Professionals. What time is your guys' match tomorrow?
We haven't said anything up.
Okay, because I'm thinking at this point, as early as this 8 o'clock Eastern one is, I could almost cover 2 tomorrow if they were pretty comparable in that.
Yeah, about that.
We can talk about that off the air there. But otherwise, yeah, make sure to join us tomorrow 8 o'clock Eastern as we have Cortex taking on TMNT, which was definitely the community favorite for matches being played. And that kind of fits.
Yeah, it's a shame I'm going to be working for that one. I really want to watch that. That's going to be a good game.
That finishes up the brackets, and now is a great time for me to tell you guys about a sad story of a shoutcaster that only has 4 people following him on Twitter. Can you believe that? What shoutcaster only has 4 followers? Well, that shoutcaster is little old me. My Twitter's very new, and we need to try to fill this up if you guys can. So I'm doing a lot of stuff on there, on my Twitter, including soon that I'm going to do some stuff just on Twitter. There's just going to be some giveaway for some different gaming gear, which I'm personally doing. It's not going to be, e-rev's not putting in any money for it. I'm actually doing it just towards the community. And it's not just Left 4 Dead. It's going to be any of the people that are actually following me on my Twitter. So if you guys get a chance, just head over there. I'm on my Twitter, I am e-rev_twiz. And I tweet quite often. I'm a very good tweeter. You guys would imagine so. I know nobody uses Twitter. I know you guys see Twitter there, nobody uses it, but other people use it, and a lot of big organizations use it, and I think I'm pretty big. I have like a lot of people on my Facebook, but they're all friends, and I don't want any of you people on there. That sounded kind of mean, didn't it? Didn't that sound a little mean? Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like a complete nerd talking about PC gaming on my on my Facebook.
Really? You're ashamed of it, yet you cast this much and do all this stuff for the community? Come on, bro.
I posted on my Facebook, and I was a little embarrassed. From my work comes up to me and says, Pat, I've seen your little post on your Facebook there. You were in an orange shirt, which I'm always in an orange shirt, and you guys never ever realize it. Always in orange, my favorite color. But he goes, I've seen you doing a cast. He's like, what was that all about? And I started talking to him. And I was expecting it made fun of. It took me back to my high school days all over again. I was expecting it milk spilled all over my shirt and then just get shoved down. And the guy's like, dude, that's pretty cool. And I'm thinking, you serious? Or you messing with me right now, man?
Broke the ice.
So yeah, it was kind of neat. So now I'm starting to talk a little bit more about it. And like when I mentioned something about the GXL, like my entire work's actually talking about all the PCs where I work. They're going to turn on to the GXL event. So it's going to be pretty neat. But did you guys have any stuff you wanted to recap on before we ended this here?
No, really, just good luck to the rest of the team.
All right.
That's about it.
Is there any questions that the community had for any of our guests on the air right now? Now would definitely be the time to do it. You can post it right in the Cevo chat there. We'll give a moment for that to go through and... All right, well, no. Actually, I'm going to ban Excel from here from what he posted just because I'm mean like that. All right. And no, I don't care about Boom Boom. So, my favorite. All right, I have what is your favorite snack, Twiz? As much as I hate to say it, I consider wings a snack, and I really love wings. Definitely Buffalo Wild Wings spicy garlic with lots and lots of ranch.
I thought you were going to say peanut butter after the cast the other day, man.
As a question from to me, why was Purple, a.k.a. Fear, a.k.a. Healthcare Professionals, MVP, not interviewed? I picked my interviews pretty carefully here. I know I wanted to do Phil, and I know I wanted to do Che, and Kaja really just did a comeback, and like this is the throwback tournament, so I wanted to make sure that I used people that had been around for a while, and that's kind of why I did them for the interviews. And of course, Cevo Gallardi here had to come on because I wanted him to give us a little bit of talks on what Cevo's doing and the future of what we're doing here. And then there's one here, Dear Kaja.
And AF1's just a good guy.
He is. You know what? He is a great Cevo admin to work with. I've worked with a lot of people in leagues before, and like the entire Cevo staff has just been amazing to me since I came back and started casting the Cevo events. I talked to Mr. Old Shadow, who does Han, and I talked to Rippy, who does the League of Legends stuff, and these guys are just like so onto it with everything. And not only do they say, hey, here's how we're going to help you like get cast scheduled, but they're like, here's some ideas about what the community wants to see. Here's stuff that I've heard, and it's just so great for them to be so involved with us. It's like having an extra staff member like working for us here. So they have just done a great job, and AF1 has done amazing with this tournament so far. And it was definitely a tough role to take in here because coming back and doing a Left 4 Dead throwback tournament like this, if it fails, even though the community is dead like this, I mean, he's the one that's going to be taking all of the stuff for it. If it's a success, you know, he's the one taking the stuff for it. So it was a pretty big risk to come on. And I think if somebody would have asked me to do it, I probably would have turned it down and said, you know what, at this point, I don't think we could do it. So you guys got to give them mad props for putting this together and doing such a great job on getting everything organized for it.
Absolutely. You have my thanks, sir.
And then I have, Dear Twiz, why do you insist on wearing shirts? Because, trust me, you don't want to see me with my shirt off. Like, it's to the point, like, where if I try to trim it, like, it clogs my electric shaver, so you guys don't want to see that. Any other serious questions here?
Thanks for sharing that. We appreciate that.
Nice mental image.
All right. Well, I think
back in one of the Left 4 Dead Downcasts, I'm pretty sure you flashed the community. Not gonna lie.
I think I did. I'm pretty sure that I had a shirt off there. It was, oh my God, yeah, I remember that now. Oh gosh. And I actually, to help the community out, since it was a younger group, I taught everybody how to shave their face, which was a very important aspect. Not only was I teaching you Left 4 Dead, I was also teaching you real life traits that you could live with. So hopefully I made a positive impact on everybody with facial hair. Twiz, do you like Twizzlers?
Havoc wants to know if you...
Yeah, I don't really like Twizzlers because they stick inside your teeth, and it's probably one of like the worst kind of candies you can eat. It's on the same level as like taffy. It's not very good for your teeth at all, so I'm not a big fan of that. I like chocolate though. Chocolate's not good for your teeth either, but it tastes so amazing. All right, well, since this is over, guys, basically, thank you guys for coming on the air with me tonight, and thank you guys for all of your input that you've done on this show. I definitely couldn't have put it together and made it near as entertaining without your guys' thoughts, comments, and concerns here. So thanks again, guys. Any parting words before we leave? You guys can all go through and say bye, I guess.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, it was a pleasure being here, and for that shout-out, chicken ramen is better.
Phil, how is it that you maintain your composure as a caller? So calm.
It starts with believing in yourself, Jay.
I do have a pretty...
He's lit. No more damage. Run away. Run away from that.
This is a pretty important question here, and it is pretty serious. And the question is, Kaja, why does Exemius not play anymore?
Oh. Well, I don't know. The guys still are around. They aren't playing Left 4 Dead 1. I'm really the only one who came back, and I really wish that group of guys was still around and playing, because they were some of the funnest people to play with, and I had some of the best times in gaming playing with those guys. But yeah, I guess they're just doing their own thing right now, just pubbing games and doing things casually instead of taking things so seriously like we did before.
Okay, yeah, definitely good thoughts there, and I don't know. I guess I haven't really come back either. It's just I can't. I tried to play the other day, and Purple Tragedy, one of my good friends now that I've made while playing League of Legends, even plays, and he keeps getting me to try to come in and pub, and I get so frustrated and so upset because I used to be so much better than what I am now, and it makes me just not even want to play. So that's why one of the reasons I don't play Left 4 Dead, and why I probably won't ever come back to play competitively. So it's just I have a lot more fun playing other games, especially RTS games. That's my new thing now.
You just gotta find the right group of guys, Twiz. Then you won't have those frustrations.
I really...
Maybe a bunch of buffalo wings.
I really enjoyed playing with All 4 Dead when they were still around. Unfortunately, it was at the beginning of Left 4 Dead 2 when I joined their team, and they were such a fun group to play with. Even though I was probably one of their weakest links, it was still a lot of fun. I don't know. I guess if they came back, I'd probably consider it, but as at this point, I couldn't feel like taking this game seriously. And there's people that want to play League of Legends with me right after this cast. Yes, if you want to play League of Legends with me, I will be playing after this cast. I will have my stream going on OWN TV. I'll link everybody to that in the chat. But you can add me on League of Legends and the Twiz, the Space Twiz.
Who do you play on there, Twiz?
I can play...
What's your main?
I can play...
What's your main?
In ranked right now, I do a lot of Misfortune. I prefer Corky as a carry over Misfortune, just because Corky has a lot of poke and can do a lot more damage than Misfortune at the early to mid-game stages. Except with Corky, it does take a much stronger team to protect you. You have to have a good tank and a good support with some strong CC to keep you alive. Otherwise, you're forced to Valkyrie out of the fight, and then you're just useless to your team. So I play a lot of agent carries. Lately, I've been playing AP Scion just because I love being able to just play as an anti-carry, flash in, and destroy a carry in 2 hits. So.
Okay.
I'm going to say thank you to e-rev, Twiz especially, for your efforts in this community. Thank you to Gagliardi and Cevo for bringing back the tournament. And I'm stepping out of here. Have a good night, guys. Yep,
have a good one, guys. And we are going to end this on here. again, you guys, we're working hard to try to do this with Left 4 Dead, and I really should go through and thank the entire community just for everything I've done in the casting with it. I've done out of, I guess, good grace, because the community was so good to me before, and it's the only reason that I'm in the position that I am in with e-rev. Was because of casting Left 4 Dead. So I'm behind you guys 110%. Yes, I will cast scrims, which was a question earlier. Just got to let me know ahead of time so I can get Nightcrawler on to do video. It'd definitely be a great time to do it, and I know you guys love to watch this stuff. Just by the amount of views we've gotten has been phenomenal with this game. So you guys are very much an alive community, and that's what I like to see. So I'm taking off. Nightcrawler, I know you just popped in here. Do you have any words that you want to say to the community before we leave?
Not much. I love them all.
All right, guys. Well, we are out. Thank you for joining us this evening. If you want to hit me up on League of Legends, do so. The Twiz, that's my name. I'm going to get some games going here. Otherwise, adios, guys. Have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern, as we are covering Cortex taking on TNMT. You guys have a great evening.